What's going on, y'all? This is Will Junior, man. I trust all is well. Equal is ready, man. Equal is ready, bro. Equal is ready. Look who already ready also, man. They waiting on you, boy. We coming, Equal. Oh, man. We coming, Equal.
Got your helmet?
Whoa, got my helmet. What's up, Rose the Cruz?
What's up?
You want to say what's up to the people, bro?
What's going on?
Woo. Bro, I'm nervous, man. You think Equal still gonna like me? Like, is she gonna recognize me, you think? Or you think I should take this hat off? You think she like the hat? I just want to make a good impression, man. Okay, good. My breath is good. I put on some cologne. So. Equal! A slew of different diagnostics on your bike. Performed the Sumping Diagnostics, which is basically just checking for measurements, and something in the aspect of where that oil is sitting down inside the crankcase. Is there oil sitting down inside there? Is it burnt? Because when it's sumped, it burns off all the excess oil on the top of the motor and has a very distinct smell. So after that, we performed an oil pressure test to protect your oil pump basically inside that cam chest. At that point, what you do is basically just hook up the lines coming from the oil, or from the oil pump itself, put on a pressure regulator, turn the bike over with that running, and check the PSI. It pinged out at 21 PSI at 100 RPM, and then 45 to 46 to 200 RPM, which is perfect spec.
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah.
So at that point, we did verify the bike was port low, and then we started to go ahead and check your spark plugs. Because a lot of times, if you're getting oil past pistons themselves, it'll burn off, and you'll see the spark plugs will have a super dark burn on the actual points themselves. Your spark plugs look good, have that nice good brown tint to them. And then, let's see, hold your air intake, because a lot of times we have seen in the past where oil will get past your breather hose and will dump inside that air box. Everything's clean and dry in there. Breather hose is how it should be, no issues there. It's intact, it's not like crimped or like obviously I've seen when they get so hot, like they'll like melt, kind of thing, and they'll deform basically. It is a formed line, so all that's good there. So then at that point, that's when we started doing the actual engine tests, the compression tests, leak down tests, and the leak down test, and then we put a bore scope down through your spark plugs to actually look at the cylinders and the pistons themselves. Compression test on the front cylinder, you're putting out 250 PSI, rear cylinder putting out 240 PSI, which is again perfect specs. Leak down test, you're only at like 10% on the rear, or less than 10% on the front, and less than 15% on the rear, which is again perfect test on that one. My car's off that sheet. And at that point, that's when they put the bore scope down through the spark plug holes. Okay. Looked at the pistons, looked at the sidewalls of the cylinder. Nothing really concerning there either. Everything looked clean, no abnormal burn off. Saw a little bit of moisture on top of the piston, but that's not abnormal either to have a little bit of oil passage to get past those piston rings. So at this point, tech services wants you to do, and what we're going to recommend as well, ride the bike 500 miles, come back to us. And now we want to check the oil, measure the oil out again, possibly do a couple more of these tests one more time to see where this oil is getting burned off at.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because I mean, you guys did literally all the diagnostic tests and everything came out grade A. So where's the oil going?
And this is going to be the annoying part, is trying to figure out where this oil is burning off.
Because there's no leaks or anything.
Yeah. So we did notice a decent amount of black soot in your tailpipes. which that's what we're thinking is maybe it's getting past the valves. Maybe it's getting past those valve seals and burning off the top end and getting pushed out on the exhaust stroke of that motor. So at this point,
But then there'd be like specks and
you would see black smoke. That's the other thing, is that if you don't notice any smoke coming out of the pipes, so particularly these next 500 miles, pay attention for any sort of black or white smoke coming out the tailpipes. White smoke in the morning is pretty normal just because it's cold, but especially when the bike gets to operating temperature. If you're seeing any sort of smoke, see if you can grab a quick video of it so we can see it as well.
I mean, I'll continue to do that, but literally as of now, no smoke. I mean, Ross Cross and I ride together, and when I heard the guys, I know they would have advised me if there was smoke. But I'll do that definitely.
Yeah, just kind of look out for that. And then say within 500 miles, come back to us. We're going to look at the oil again. And at that point, this is where the warranty aspect gets a little frustrating, because we are at that point tied to what the tech services wants us to do. If it was not a warrantable issue or a warrantable concern, what we do at this point would get your permission to tear open the top end, look at these valves, see if there's any oil burn off on the valves themselves or any carbon buildup on the valves, to see if maybe the oil is somehow getting passed and burning up in the top end valve.
But see, now the warranty will cover all of that though, right? So you guys would do all of that because of the full warranty, correct?
But this is step one in that procedure.
Okay, gotcha. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I bring the bike back after 500 miles and it's doing the same thing, because I don't know quick sidebar, I don't know when they test rode it, did they notice the decreases in power as well? Like it's not giving the full power?
He did not make mention of that per se.
Because I'm in like 4th and 5th gear in 60, doing 60, and I shouldn't have to do that.
He didn't mention anything about loss of power or feeling a loss of power, but then again, you know your motorcycle better than we will, as far as the actual drivability and rideability of that bike.
So going back to the hypothetically speaking, phase 2. So let's say I bring the bike in after 500 miles, just doing the same thing, burning the oil. Now, they advised me not to put any oil in there.
So
from
right
now
now
until
we have
500
it set
miles.
to where it should be. We have it set to the full mark where we know it's at.
Awesome.
And so when you come back at that 500 miles and that oil, if it has dropped, even half a quart, we'll call tech services again. Be like, hey, bike's come back at 500 miles. He's lost half a quart in 500 miles. That is now very close to spec. It's not, because what Harley will say is that within 1,500 miles, it can be somewhat normal to lose about a quart. I don't necessarily see that on a regular basis.
No, exactly.
I've never put any oil in my bike the whole time I've had it.
I'm in agreement with you on that one. I read no 6 Dyno with an 88. I might burn off half a quart in like 3,000 miles.
Right.
That's normal. But a quart within 1,500 to 2,000 miles, none of an M8, that seems a little weird to me. Those tolerances are a lot tighter than...
And there's 3,000 miles on the bike, so you know.
Are a lot tighter than on the M8s, are a lot tighter than the twin cams. So.
Right. So going back to phase 2, if we find out that it's still burning oil after I bring it in, what's the next phase?
Like I said, we'll call tech services at that point, tell them, hey, we're still burning off oil.
Okay.
At that point, my shop foreman, Tim, which I think you've talked to him a few times, he will advise with tech services to allow us to do a top-end teardown or top-end exploratory diagnostics.
Okay.
And at that point, we'll go inside that engine and start to look at where things should be burning off at. Is it getting past the valve and getting past the piston and burning up in that valve train, or is it somehow sitting on top of it and burning off on top of the piston?
Okay.
But from what we can see in the bore scope, it's
grade A, right?
So that is Tim's thought as well, is that if it's continuously burning off oil, his most likely thought process at this point is that it's burning off in the top of the engine in that valve train.
Because I will say that's a bit unusual where you guys have to actually call the actual manufacturer master tech to be like, hey dude, we're not spotting anything, and then he had to give his intake or his input, right?
Yeah, so we just had not a similar situation, but a very difficult brake issue on a 2020 trike, where it was throwing a code and we couldn't duplicate the code, couldn't find an issue. And I mean, this went on for weeks. The bike kept coming back the same code. And they ended up sending out one of their field reps from Central Florida to come down here to fix the bike, because they were not tired, but they was like, okay, like you guys have done everything we wanted you to do, but like
time to extend help.
Let's go ahead and bring out one of a factory master's tech out here and work with you guys to see if we can't figure it out, because we can't figure it out, you guys can't figure it out. Let's put our heads together and see what's going on. It ended up being an ABS block later on down the road is what we found out, but I'm hoping this is not going to turn into that situation, because that could be a very frustrating road. And I do not like putting any customers through that nonsense, because it is very frustrating.
That's a new bike.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we dealt with this strike. And it's just like, we cannot have this going on. So it's like, let's go ahead.
You looked at the cylinder, it wasn't burning there?
No, and that's the weird part, is that with the borescope looking down in there, seeing a little bit of moisture on top of the pistons is normal. And that's what we saw. It was just a little bit of moisture sitting on top of the piston. So at that point, we called tech services, let them know, hey, this is what we found. This is what, test XYZ showed. Everything was been inspected. What do you want us to do now?
Yeah.
And this is what they're advising us to tell you, is to have you ride the bike for 500 miles, come back to us.
Okay.
Just whenever you hit 500 miles, you don't even have to call us, just show up.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and check that oil levels again and make sure that everything, if it's within it's supposed to be, then it could be a weird fluke instance. But if it has burned off,
that's a continual fluke, man.
Yeah,
but I understand what you're saying. So now let's say that we get it back, and you already explained the hypothetically phase 2. So phase 3, once you guys broken everything down and all what you can do, and of course the customer's probably frustrated at this point. What's you guys phase 3?
Phase 3 is basically being like, for some instance, if we find nothing wrong, everything is measuring out. You got feeler gauges out measuring in between, the sidewalls of the cylinders and the piston rings and all that kind of stuff, and you got perfect spec there, and you have no burn off in the valve train. That's when we call tech services again and be like, something is still not right here. We're losing oil. Everything was within spec. Where do you want us to check now? Because at that point, our Hail Mary is going to be that it's burning off in the valve train. So at that point, tech services would then be involved, being like, we're not seeing anything weird, not seeing anything wrong. We need to do something though. Because you've had a continuous occurrence customer, we pull up your receipts of, where you've come in and bought quarts of oil.
Yeah.
And it's like, customers bought oil with a bike that has 3,000 miles on it, this date, this date, and this date. So clearly there is a pattern of an issue.
Yeah.
We would like to do something here. And at that point, we would be at their mercy as far as what they would allow us to do. And that's when I'm the assistant service manager, OP, you've met OP a few times, or Robert.
Yep.
We would get him involved and be like, okay, we need to do something here, because this is not going to be an acceptable, it shouldn't be an acceptable for any customer for any bike. So that's where we'd get him involved. We're like, okay, what do you want us to do? How do you want us to argue with tech services on this?
So what's the positive side of this, and what's the not so positive, just overall?
Positive side is your bike's going to get fixed regardless.
Okay.
Your warranty's going to take care of you. Negative side of it is it may get frustrating.
Okay. It's tedious at the time.
It's going to be tedious. It's going to 100%. I fully expect if this does not come back with burnt off oil, and you ride 1,000 miles and all of a sudden you're down a quart.
What about the shifter? Could it be that?
You'd see that leak.
I know you would. Did you look?
Yeah, I would say everything is nice and dry.
I mean, that's a spot that you don't normally look.
Yeah, you're talking about your shift shaft seal?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's dry in the case.
Okay.
Everything is that you would see that shining down with a flashlight. Is that you check all seals at that point.
So you guys literally did every type of troubleshooting, all the specs. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, I hope and pray, fingers crossed, this is not going to end up in that sort of situation.
Right. Oh, I mean, same here, because I put a lot of money into it.
Yeah,
but,
100%.
And
that's the last thing I want to see. So hopefully, if it does burn off oil, we come in, we find an issue immediately. And it's not this guessing game back and forth of chasing this ghost.
Yeah.
Plus, not to mention, you have the motor all tore down now. What's the chances it lasting 100,000 miles?
Oh, easily. I mean, that's just gaskets at that point.
Okay.
I mean, we've done plenty of motor builds and tear downs and rebuilds with absolutely no issues.
Gotcha.
That's what you're thinking of, when those aspects of where you tear a motor down and all of a sudden it just never runs right. It's simply when something goes back together with a different set of gaskets. Like if they put, Cosmetic or Jim's gaskets, or they start putting in aftermarket parts that are not high quality parts, and all of a sudden you have all these runnability issues and so on and so forth. But you'd be going back with OEM stuff.
Well,
You don't
want to come back and then have all kind of leaks that you never had before.
Oh, no, 100% not.
Yeah,
Even if it did, if for some reason that it did,
Okay.
it would be taken care of. With
Awesome.
No money out of your pocket by any
Awesome.
means.
Okay.
So.
Well, and I have to say, I definitely respect you guys and appreciate you guys for actually doing that thorough investigation on it. I appreciate that, and for your honesty, because you guys could have been like, okay, hey man, we fixed the issue, it was this, and then come to find out it wasn't this or that. So, I mean, I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
love
going to BS you. We're going to tell you straight up that, hey, right now, I'm not seeing any issues.
Yeah.
But
And it's kind of weird. We all know there's an issue. We're just not finding the issue. Okay, understood. All right, yeah, we'll get those 500.
He comes to my house and we put the oil in.
I got you.
Yeah.
We all hang out together. We buy all the time.
Right on. Yeah, that's fine. It's, it's like I said, it's just.
Oh, he saw the track record of when I purchased oil.
So yeah, we can go through and show all that to tech services and be like, look, man, like you bought oil on 3 different occasions to top off his bike.
Yeah.
A 2020 with what 3,000 or 3,500 miles on it.
Right.
That's not normal.
Yep.
And
Because he said he rode his bike to Washington, back everywhere, and he never did an oil check, or the only time he checked his oil is when you bring it in for your basic service.
So I check the oil before I leave on a long trip.
Yeah.
Like you should.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had no oil add in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's very abnormal. 100%. It is not normal for you to be burning off oil. I haven't seen a sumping issue on an M8 since 17.
Okay.
And all the bikes that did come in for something issue have been within that year range, like late model or early model 17 to late model 18.
Gotcha.
I have seen transfer issues, but that was usually on the 18, 19s.
Makes sense.
And that was transfer from transmission to primary. But they fixed that issue on all the 20s.
Okay.
So this is new.
Gotcha.
100% this is new for me, this is new for all these guys back here. To have an M8 burning off a quart of oil within a 500,000 mile range, that's weird. And that's very abnormal.
Gotcha.
No smoke.
Yeah, plus no smoke.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the weirder part is that you're now chasing this proverbial ghost of where has it gone, because it's not in the engine, it's not sitting in a crankcase. The oil pump is putting out the proper pressure to cycle that oil all the way through the top of the engine and cool everything down, cool it through the oil cooler, and for it to be working properly. But to not show any signs of leakage or oil burn off.
In the piston.
Yeah. And see, this is where
You don't know in the valve train, but in the piston.
so that's where, if it does come back with oil burn off, that's when we'll get into that valve train.
The
Start
only way
looking
you're
at
going
those
to be able to see that
valves.
is drop the valve low and look on the stem.
Exactly. So at that point, you're looking at a complete top end tear down.
Oh man. That's why you said frustrating for the customer. Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
because at that point, you're looking at tearing into the motor. There's no other way around it, unfortunately, to get into that valve or that valve train where those valve seals are. You got to tear the motor down.
That's almost as bad as the output shaft with a shifter. You used to have to take the thing all the way apart because there was no way to get that gap in there. The newer bikes, you don't have to.
Oh man. Awesome, man. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys, man. Seriously.
So that is your copy. You're not being charged for anything today. Exactly.
Well, even if it's fixed, I still shouldn't be charged, right? Because of warranty.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. Let me grab this stamp so I can sign this for me.
Dude, I appreciate you, brother. What's up, Steve?
What up?
I wish my guy Eric was here, but Eric did give me a call, so shouts out to my guy Eric. I'm gonna let you guys know what happened. But before that, shouts out to my guy Ross the Cross, man. Ross was hitting me up every day. Is the bike ready? Is the bike ready? Shouts out to you, Robert Simmons. Robert Simmons was like, bro, your bike ready. Let me know if you need me to pick you up. So, man, I appreciate you guys, man. That's what's up, man. But check this out, guys. Now, listen to this. I'm gonna have Stevie B to break it down.
Yeah. So, thanks to my man Steve here and his outstanding
Wood Jr.
Wood Jr. and his YouTube video, man. We had a customer from like West Palm Beach call up here and bought a motorcycle here at our dealership. And since they told us they came here because of his video, we are presenting him with this $50 referral gift card.
Wow, isn't that cool? Now watch this, check this out. Ross, because of your awesomeness, all right, and your super duper excitement, I present you. No, Ross, with the $50 gift card. Ross, come on, Ross. Now you see this, guys? We got into an argument one day, man, at a restaurant. Everybody was out, and I grabbed the ticket. Ross was like, "No, I got it." I was like, "I got it." Isn't that weird? Ross, please, come on, man, for real. Ross, I'm not taking my bike if you don't take this. I'm walking home.
I'm riding home.
Steve, please give this to him, man, for real. Can you please get up to Ross? That's yours, man. Ross, come on, man. Gosh, thank you, man. Man, just take it, bro. Right. Just take it, Ross. That's my guy, man. Real, man. Real talk. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
so
man.
y'all come on up here, man. Get y'all motorcycle, man.
Yeah, man. I'll let your boy Steve
That's
be.
right. Stevie B, Eric, man, they got you guys for real, man. I deal with them. So, of course, these are great people. Seriously. Served in the military, served our country. I just, rock our country. But, but they serve our country. Man, appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah.